The Chargers just beat the Jets, and we are on a winning streak. That's right, 2 in a row, both in prime time, and we're going to have a lot to talk about in today's video. Lots of good, lots of bad. Let's just get right into it, man. Make sure to like and subscribe if you do enjoy this content. Helps me out a lot. Now let's talk about Austin Ekeler, man. He looks so tough to tackle. His balance, honestly, I think it's honestly the best I've ever seen from a football player. He had an awesome run for 21 yards while the defender grabbed his face mask. Then on 2nd and goal, he got that touchdown with Gerald Everett as fullback, Nick Vanett and Foster Sarrell as tight ends on the strong side, and he even broke a tackle on that play too. Austin Ekeler is such a great receiving threat. He's finally getting that same production in the running game too, because since he's been back, he's not been as good as Joshua Kelly, but in this game, he uncharacteristically dropped some passes. So hopefully that's not a trend that continues. But also, to be fair, those passes were not great throws by Justin Herbert. I'm just going to say it. He should have caught a lot of those, but the placement wasn't really great. Justin Herbert was under pressure all night again. And we knew he would be because that Jets defensive line, that's their biggest strength. Herbert tried and even extended plays, scrambled, but that defense was too much for everybody on this offense, man. The Jets had us looking like they knew the play better than we did all night, and it was bad. They only had one good drive really this entire game. The offensive line had a tough night. Everyone on the line got beat multiple times, and the Jets defensive line was just eating their lunch and dinner all night. Even Rashawn Slater got beat by Bryce Huff on a bull rush that resulted in a sack. They never allowed Justin Herbert to get comfortable, and they were constantly keeping him on edge while also basically shutting down the running game for almost the entirety of this game. This offense basically goes as far as this offensive line goes, and I would like to see Justin Herbert be able to overcome that a little bit more, but he just hasn't been able to, probably because he's still not 100%, man. He's still injured, and you can tell because of how he falls, dude. He is clearly hurting on that left hand so badly that he literally falls in a way to avoid his hand coming in contact with the turf. But sometimes the Jets were just rushing like 3 or 4 guys, and they would be coming right in Justin's face, bro. That would make any man uncomfortable. Imagine 300-pound dudes coming in your face as soon as you drop it back. That sounds like a terrible time for any quarterback. And I feel like I keep making excuses for him, right? But it is hard not to when you're dealt such a bad hand all the time. The receivers he was throwing to outside of Keenan Allen, 2 rookies with Quentin Johnson and Derius Davis, Simi Fehoko and Jalen Guyton. He has a broken finger, and he was under pressure and hit all night, and he had guys dropping balls that he was actually able to get rid of. Again, his placement wasn't great at times, but I don't understand how you can watch this game and come away from it thinking Herbert is anywhere near at fault. The loss of Josh Palmer, Mike Williams, and Corey Linsley has really made this offense like a shell of itself, and they need to figure it out if we want to be competitive with good teams. I like the use of Jordan McFadden again at fullback, and there was one play specifically that was a screen pass to Austin Ekeler with McFadden as the lead blocker, and if that pass wasn't batted down, bro, ooh, that would have been a huge gain. Also, another positive, Keenan Allen is such a baller, man. He had a great game, and he was the only receiver to help out Justin Herbert. He had an awesome spinning one-handed catch, and that was the one that put him over 10,000 yards receiving in his career. He is a legend, and him and Herbert have basically become the entire offense. Gerald Everett is also pretty good after the catch. He made a lot of Jets miss. He made a lot of Jets miss tonight. And if he didn't fumble that ball in the first quarter, I wouldn't be holding my breath now half the time after he catches the ball. But this offense has been awful at running the ball, and this is the second game in a row now where we just ran the ball in the second half, and instead of trying to score more points, we just run the clock out and stall every drive. I hate that they do that, but it has worked these past 2 games, and it doesn't help their second half scoring because before the Rams game, they were trying to get back into games and score more points in the second half, whereas in these past 2 games, they've just run the clock out with the lead. And honestly, in this game, they could never really get anything going in either half. They had 2 touchdowns, and the 1 touchdown was gifted to him at the 1-yard line. After that, Alohi Gilman fumble return off the Khalil Mack sack, which was a game ender, by the way. But then that other touchdown was a special teams touchdown by Derius Davis. And let's talk about special teams, bro. Derius Davis made 3 guys miss and got an 87-yard touchdown. He looked so fast and shifty. He had awesome field vision, and he had a great block from Tanner Muse. I don't know if a lot of you guys saw that, but that was a great block that set him off. Longest punt return of the year and first punt return touchdown since 2019 for the Chargers, bro. He also recovered that Gerald Everett fumble to avoid giving the Jets the ball on the 30-yard line earlier in this game. Also, since we're talking about special teams, shout out to Cameron Dicker, man. While we're talking about it, he has been awesome, and he kicked a lot of field goals in this one. All facets of this special teams unit has been great this year. Now let's talk about this defense, man. Joey Bosa got a ball sack, and he needed to get one, and he got the recovery too, so he did everything on that play. He had 2.5 sacks in this game and looked like the old Joey Bosa out there with that pass rush and the stout run defense, and also the penalties too. He was offsides on one play and then had a roughing the passer in the first quarter. He seems to struggle with getting penalties throughout his career because the roughing the passer was really late and easily avoidable, but also he mistimes the snaps sometimes and it results in offsides or encroachment. If he can clean that up, this defense would be even better, but he was awesome. Tuli Tuipulotu got a sack on 3rd down before the end of the half, and then another late one in the 4th quarter on 3rd down to end the Jets' drive. He had a good game too, but we already know he's going to play well every single game now because that's our best defensive player, dude. Khalil Mack, Morgan Fox also got in there on the pass rush a couple times, and this pass rush was eaten too, man. Just like the Jets were. They were all eating tonight. Every single pass rusher in this entire game. That Khalil Mack ball sack ended the game and led to the only touchdown for us in the second half because Alohi Gilman returned that thing all the way to the 1-yard line. And by the way, Alohi Gilman, the flying Hawaiian, this dude was the player of the night for us. He was flying around the field, came down with a vengeance to hit hard and assert himself in this game. He smacked the snot out of Allen Lazard on 3rd down earlier in this game to set the tone immediately. And then the next drive, he got a forced fumble on a Garrett Wilson pass after Asante Samuel Jr. was giving up 10 yards of space off of the line of scrimmage. It was just a screen pass right to him. And then on that tackle, boom, you get that forced fumble. Turnover. The Chargers had 3 turnovers tonight, which is great all-around defense. Jasir Taylor also played a really great game. He had a pass breakup downfield before the half on Allen Lazard, and he was a sure tackler, came downfield quickly, man. Jasir Taylor was probably the team's best cornerback tonight, and Alohi Gilman was definitely the best safety, although Derwin James had a couple of big hits, and I mean Ed Reed kind of hits, man, with the fumble recovery too. He needed to have a good game because he struggled to start this season, but don't forget, man, Derwin is still that dude, and he's going to prove all of the doubters wrong soon enough. I am sure of it. Joey Bosa has already gotten back into his rhythm. Derwin James, he's probably starting that right now. Now listen, man, we got to talk about Brandon Staley because this reset may have been real, okay? I know I was joking about it and made some videos about what should be done, but this defense has the same players doing the same kind of thing, but it's working now because they just look faster and they're playing with an edge that they did not have prior to the Bears game. And that Bears game was the first game after he declared the reset. If all he needed to do was turn the Chargers off and then turn them back on again, then I wish he would have done that to start the season. But at least he figured it out because now this defense and special teams is playing the way that we had hoped. The offense, on the other hand, still needs a little bit of work. You know what? It needs a lot of work, okay? We've had a lot of injuries on this offense, and Justin Herbert is injured. It looks like he's doing everything out there, but with all of the pressures on him and the lack of holes in the run game recently, second half scoring issues, we need to give Brandon Staley credit here in turning this defense around, which looked really awful to start this season, but this offense Obviously, we all know it still needs work if we want to compete. So that is everything that you need to know from this Jets game. And I know I kind of went in on this offense earlier in this video, but I think they deserve it because we have so much talent on this team, and Justin Herbert is a great quarterback. We put so much resources into that offensive line. They should be better than what they're performing right now. And yeah, they got a touchdown in the second half, but they got the ball at the 1 yard line because Alohi Gilman in this Chargers defense, which is playing great, gave it to them at the 1 yard line. So I think they need to be called out for that, and this offense needs to play better if we want to compete. But thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like the video if you haven't already. I will see you guys tomorrow.